Hello, dear ones, and welcome to another episode of 𝗏 with 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Today, we are gonna be here with my guides, my higher self, and your guides too, which I invite in now. In this episode, I'm also going to be connecting with your spirit guides. You will find that in the timestamp below for practical advice that you need to hear since you're here. If you want to skip the first part, you can jump right into the guides section. That's after a couple of minutes, and enjoy it over there. To drop any information there is, for getting ourselves out of the entanglement that happens in relationships. So through relationships, even healthy ones, there are cords that are created. One thing that we should keep in mind is be mindful of the energy exchanges that happen during those relationships. So being mindful of your energy levels before encountering, having an encounter with the other person, during the encounter with the other person, and after the encounter with the other person, so that we can know if it is a healthy and balanced relationship or not, and if not, what steps can you take to ensure that there is balance in that relationship. One step would be communicating for the inner dynamics that are somehow subconscious and hidden in the relationship. Putting them to light not only strengthens the relationship, but it also makes anything that is imbalanced come to balance, if it is to be balanced through that relationship. And if not, take your position in your own power and move yourself out of that relationship, which sometimes these relationships of unbalanced energy exchanges can be draining and leaving us unfulfilled. So yeah, that's one beautiful step you can take in order to restore the balance and strengthen and better the relationship if it can be balanced. And by doing so, you can also see the worth that the relationship holds, if it is actually worthy of being in your life or not, which is a delicate light to be put in a relationship, measuring the worthiness of the relationship. But this comes from a place of knowing our own worth and making sure that our worth is met in that relationship, and ensuring the health of our energetical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being. Okay, so how do we get out of entanglement in such relationships where we feel there is a pull, and that pull keeps being strengthened, and as if we cannot take back our power from that relationship? One good way, if this is a past relationship or even if this is a present relationship, you can choose to visualize cutting cords with this. And the cutting of the cords does not mean that you cut any and all cords. It means that you sever and cut the cords that are no longer serving, that are draining in the relationship. And this will serve to repositioning that relationship into a much healthier and a position that holds more light for both parties involved. Excuse my throat today, I've smoked way too many cigarettes. Okay, and what's something else that wants to come through for the relationship topic, getting out of entanglement? And for relationships that require for us to be giving our power away, we should immediately cut any contact with those relationships that even after the conversations and even after the attempts to restore the balance in the relationship are not satisfactory. Then we should gather ourselves back and stay in your position of power and worth by saying that you no longer hold a place in my life for the following reasons, and I choose to take back my own power and my own dignity as a singular person being, and not further continuing the entanglement which is leading to not only an energetical drain, because we mentioned that earlier, but it's also diminishing the light that we hold. And how I want to put this better in words. When they leave us in a position where we feel like we have to prove our worth, where we have to prove the things that we're saying, where we are constantly faced with hits of tricks, with hits of indirect communication in order to obtain something, that's a sign that that's a relationship that you should pull back from after trying to communicate. Well, in such cases, if a person is formed to be in this way, you can try to communicate, and there are chances that they might switch their ways if they are capable of that, which I believe if they were capable of that, they wouldn't behave like that in the first point. But either way, you can give it a try. Okay, and I'm holding one single wand, like being in the Ace of Wands position, which means speaking and following your truth passionately, exploring, this is another thing, not from the Ace of Wands, that's coming from the Ace of Wands, exploring the inner dynamics of the relationships by journaling and speaking with your guides, and seeing what valuable information they can personally provide for you. And actually, I'm thinking of tapping in and seeing, for any of the viewers that are present here right now, what is an advice that will best suit their needs for a relationship that is making them struggle. Standing up for your own self, not letting other ones be in charge of you and telling you what to do, but taking ownership of yourself as being a singular, powerful entity, soul, that can make confident decisions about the endeavors that they are pursuing. Okay, so this is speaking of being very courageous and being very confident, knowing your self-worth, and being in the light where you know what you want to do, and you don't let others second guess or doubt any decisions by absorbing and taking what they're saying as being a fact. So everyone can have opinions on certain matters that we want to do, because we live in a world where everyone is a singular and has their own. We all have opinions, and it is encouraged for us to share them, but we should know when we are faced with those opinions, that we take them in as in a balanced way. So taking them in as opinions that are coming from another perspective, and putting them on weight and seeing the value that they hold. And then as a result of us being in this perceiving position and an analyzing position, we see the value that that opinion holds for us, and if we should take that in as it is, and if there is anything that we should take in from that, as in to apply it to our final to apply to our viewpoint and final decisions. So there's that. There's that for you. I hope this served you in any way. So yeah, being more mindful of like observing and perceiving and analyzing in a balanced way, in order to not absorb and make that opinion one that we hold within our system as a belief that's now like something that holds a great value, or holds something that is of worth. Because opinions, and one thing that helps is knowing where this opinion comes from. So knowing the background of the person, and seeing behind the lines on what background and what belief system is this opinion coming from, and seeing comparison would be good in this case of our own belief system and our own opinion, or anything that we would like to pursue, and where that belief was the drive behind that thing that we are wanting to pursue. Okay, so there's that. Let me see if anything else comes through for you guys. They're saying take charge and do not let others define you. So this goes into another light, not in the light of the matters that we want to the matters that we want to put ourselves towards. So 3D things that we want to pursue. This is more of an internal state of being. So you should be you should drop into the analytical side of yourself, by having a look at your beliefs, your values, observing your patterns, observing your actions that matches sort of with the patterns, but could be also different other than the patterns. And by observational situation that we do, observation scenario that we do within ourselves, we are able to see ourselves in a clear light of knowing our positive sides and of knowing our negative sides. And this would serve as a shield of when we are faced with other opinions that want to dress us up in the light that they see, that again comes from their own perspectives, beliefs, viewpoints. And in such case, sometimes there are valuable insights in the things that others share from themselves as to how they see us. And this also calls for developing a critical eye on the observations and knowing when to take them in. So if it is, let's say, a fact-based and not only a fact-based but also a good analysis in the terms of how it is put, in terms of the thought process, then it is still an option on whether we should take that in or whether we should not take that in. as truth. That could be a truth, but maybe that is not our truth that we would like to embody. Because again, there are things, even though it can be well put, there are things that come from a very personal life, you know, that come from very personal beliefs, personal personal way of how things are seen. So they are not always valuable, or they could be, but they are not, could be and could not be, and if they are, they could not be our truths. So this would be building a discerning muscle on knowing what to take in. And by taking in, I don't mean just listening or observing it. I mean as applying it to one of the you know, when there are buildings and they have the some big metals on the roots of them, you know, and those can be our core values and beliefs that we hold about ourselves. So being careful, and we know within ourselves what are these core beliefs. It can be also shaped by others sometimes. It can be things that we have made sure that we hold within ourselves through being perceptive and analytical of our an observer of our patterns, thoughts, behaviors, and actions. And this is what are the big building blocks of our building over here, the ones that hold the whole building up, which would be you in this case. And in that case where someone is trying to put one of their opinions into your building, down your building, to make it as a grounding base or holder that provides a foundation, then you should be very careful of and being intensely analytical and perceptive on whether you take it in or not. And this process can be way easier if you are sure and you have good foundations within you, though there are some people who can be really tricky. That's why it's good to be mindful and have it see from the background of the person, and seeing and comparing and contrasting that information with the one that we already hold within ourselves, and comparing where it comes from, as in not only the background but also from the analytical viewpoint that is being thrown towards us, and through the analytical viewpoint that we hold through a belief and a value that we hold within ourselves that comes from the same way of being in terms of how it is done on the analytical terms. Yeah. So, okay, that's what I have for you today. I hope you really enjoyed this ray from 𝗏𝗏, and hoping to see you in the next one. Oh, and a big thank you to the new subscribers over here. I'm so excited that you're here, and thank you for all the love that you've been sharing. Thank you for your views, subscribes, likes, comments, a lot. I appreciate them. And see you in another episode of 𝗏𝗏. I hope this one served you and you gained something from it. Have a nice day. Bye.